Everybody, welcome back. We're continuing our reading of my annotations. We are in Surah 21 Anbiya, starting on 89. And before we get started, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alright. And remember Zachariah when he cried to his Lord, O my Lord, leave me not without offspring, though thou art the best of inheritors. So we listened to him, and we granted him Yahya. We cured his wife's barrenness for him. You see, today you mentioned barrenness, and sometimes people see that as a blessing, right? So they can travel. They think, having kids is an extreme burden and waste, and it's quite sad. So whenever I read something like this, it kind of makes me think and feel a little sad, because it seems that we've lost our balance in a way. These three were ever quick in emulation and good works. They used to call on us with love and reverence, and humble themselves before us. Love and reverence. 91. And remember her who guarded her chastity. We breathed into her of our spirit, and we made her and her son a sign for all peoples. So that's talking about Jesus. 94. Whoever works any act of righteousness and has faith, his endeavor will not be rejected. We shall record it in his favor. Record it in his favor. 96. Until the Gog and Magog people are let through their barrier. See, Gog and Magog sounds really scary. That sounds scary. It's like a very almost cryptic name, but it's still very cool sounding. And they swiftly swarm from every hill. Then will the true promise draw nigh of fulfillment. Then behold, the eyes of the unbelievers will fixedly stare in horror. Ah, woe to us! We were indeed heedless of this. Nay, we truly did wrong. Gives you chills, doesn't it? Oh, and 100. I just did this one where it says, their sobbing will be their lot, nor will they there hear aught else. So that's the sound. Oh yes, like a. So we don't really think about this too much, but let's give an example. So like, growing up, I'd hear trains. That was peaceful. I like hearing dogs. I used to go to dog shows. You'd go into these huge buildings, and there would be sounds of just endless dog barking of all kinds of breeds, and I really liked it. And other people would be like, no, we don't like that. So if I hear one person talking in the middle of the night, like outside my window or something, I wake up, I'm like totally irritated, right? So this sound pollution, right? The environment of sound that can make you peaceful, like the roar of waves is very relaxing. It overrides your senses, right? Pushes everything out. Others, can be more distant, like birds, crows. I don't mind hearing them when they do their thing. But here, in this one, there will be sobbing will be their lot, nor will they hear aught else. And sobbing is like, there's certain crying doesn't affect me. Certain, we don't think about this a lot, that the pitch of your crying and sobbing, if it's genuine, because we're plagued by so many great actors now who can cry on point. It's quite strange. But real sobbing would ache at your heartstrings, right? It's really just like, oh, I don't want to hear that. It's so horrible. So when you think about, you will not hear anything remotely different than that type and tone. It really can make you have a somber thought. At least it does for me when we think about sound, because I'm sensitive to the sound. I think we all are, right? But I'm just saying. 104. The day that we roll up the heavens like a scroll rolled up for books, completed. That is such a cool way to say it. I mean, you don't have to, like, people will say, like, oh, why do you think all these things are so beautiful in the Quran? And it's like, you don't have to be a Muslim, like, born when you're, like, born from the beginning of, like, your life to appreciate what this is saying. And it's beautiful, the way it's said. Just rolled up. Maybe people who have hardwood floors and don't have any rugs, maybe they don't get it, but or just have carpet everywhere, but when you roll it up, it's done. Like when you change a rug, you roll it up, it's gone. It's out of here. Even as we produce the first creation, so shall we produce a new one. A promise we have undertaken, truly shall we fulfill it. A new one. Do you see, like, that really makes me feel good sometimes. It's like, you realize you're insignificant, you realize, but you are unique at the same time, because you literally are one of a kind in this time period, within this geographical area, and within this place in the cosmos, and in the plan of your maker, right? A new creation, like, it's gonna come. Just realize that. It's a very healthy way to think, very healthy thing to examine. At least for me. That's why I underlined it, because it's beautiful, it's all beautiful, but bam, you can see it and just automatically feels good. Okay, now we're in Hajj, or the pilgrimage, in the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful. And then 1, O mankind, fear your Lord, for the convulsion of the hour of judgment will be a thing terrible. And then on number 4, about the evil one, it is decreed that whoever turns to him for friendship, him will he lead astray, and he will guide him to the penalty of the fire. Oh, I can see why. You see, these ones, I like it because it's like it is a benefit. It's like a, you know how we have, this may sound like a weird way to put it, but it's true. It's the best thing I can think of right now. Like, you get a tip in a video game of a clue or something, we get excited. Like, oh, I can go find this thing right in the game. You learn like something, how to take down a character in the game or something or whatever, right? Here, though, it's like on a much more massive level of importance. Because this is like, hey, there's a being that's really evil, and it's gonna want your friendship, and then it's gonna trick you, right? Giving someone that type of warning ahead of time, just like, hey man, it's like a tip, it's a pro tip. I mean, people get excited when they hear maybe that there's like, oh, you have to drop this stock before this crashes, or hey, this is a new investment. People like trading secrets. I think it's just something humans do, because in the past, I think especially for a lot of my Italian people, when, you know, the Medici family and all of that time period was just like secret trading, banking, taking over things. Like, they didn't have cell phones, so I think it's kind of our personality from the past. But they valued types of secrets, right? And this is not a secret. It's like your creator is telling you, like, hey, don't be fooled, be smart. You're not the smartest thing in the world. There's evil out there that's pretty smart, and you gotta be smarter than it. And it's gonna lead you to a place that ain't too good. You have to appreciate a tip like that. I mean, that's how I look at it. And that's why I think it's important to annotate these things that stick out to you, because you read it, you can read it and hear it recited, right? But then sometimes there's that moment where you're like, oh, I need to hear this for this moment in time to feel good. Like, it just